back to my channel. Just a little reality that it isn't always sunny in San Diego, but it doesn't matter because it is still so beautiful out here. This week I just wanted to share with you guys a really simple recipe of pulled pork made out of jackfruit sliders. Super easy. Everything is canned,
which hopefully you're a fan of.
but that's what makes it easy, and it tastes so good. This video is not sponsored by Trader Joe's, but most of the things are from Trader Joe's because all of their stuff is so good. If you enjoy the content, I would love if you could subscribe, like, comment down below, and go ahead and turn on the notification bell so that you know when I post a new video every week. Thank you and hope you enjoy. So today I want to show you how I made the jackfruit pulled pork sliders. I guess they're not sliders because they were kind of giant, but basically pulled pork sandwiches out of jackfruit, which I've never cooked with before, but I have had at a restaurant, so I was kind of trying to copy that restaurant and what they did, and I had actually never seen jackfruit in real life before. So after I dumped out the juice, I didn't rinse it. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to do that, but I didn't. I started to kind of shred it. If I were to describe what it is like, I would say it's a cross between a pineapple and an artichoke heart, because it looked pineapple-y and it's like the way it looks, you know how like a pineapple on the top is kind of fibrous and then more hard in the middle, but artichoke is a little bit more slimy, because this was like slimy like an artichoke, squishy, but with the look of a pineapple without the fibrosity. I don't know, but it wasn't bad. It came apart easy. I think I had more intentions with that fork, as you can see, but it was easy enough to just smush it up with it. And yeah, I took out a seed. I don't really know if you eat those or not, but I ended up putting it back in because it was like a really soft seed. And basically I just made it look like shredded meat as much as possible. It also kind of looked like tuna, so I think I'm gonna try in somewhere the near future to make like tuna salad. I don't know, but it was pretty fine, and it didn't really have a smell other than, I don't know what to say it would be smelling like. Artichoke juice. I don't know, but it wasn't bad. So I add onions to the pan, just on pretty high heat actually, because I want to kind of roast it, like burn roast it, and I'll just saute to clear. So the onions on super high heat, not a high, but like 2 notches down from high. Okay, so basically just stir those little babies around for some random amount of time. I added about a half of an onion, a white onion, but you can add as much or no onion if you just are not about that life. And see how they're kind of like burnt? I like that. For this, it's kind of like roast Southwest, you know, the vibe. I just take 1 can of corn, drain that, don't rinse it, and just throw it in there, which is great. Stir that up with the onion, which is so good. It gives it like extra flavor, and it doesn't just taste like cold can. And then the water evaporates really fast after I add in the corn. It gets kind of like burnt on the bottom. I don't want that, so all I do is just add some water to kind of unstick the burnness, like so it doesn't get burned, and I just keep adding water until I like it. And that's like the best part about water saute. You're not adding any calories, but you keep your food moist and not sticking to your pan, because this is just like a regular pan, like nothing fancy. So I saute it, let the water basically evaporate, and then I add the jackfruit, which has no seasoning. It's just straight up cut out of the can into the middle of the pan. So I put the corn and the onions on the outside so that the jackfruit is on like most of the heat so that it can cook and get hot and dry out a little bit. So after it's been cooking for about a minute, I add garlic powder, the go-to. Stir that around a little bit, kind of season it. You can put as much as you want, or if you don't like any, don't put any of that. But we love garlic, so I'm chopping up this little like seed. It kind of looks like a garbanzo bean. This was a trip, this whole jackfruit experience. Then I grabbed some smoked paprika, which I recently discovered. I don't know why I've not been using that my whole life. It's basically the flavor of smokehouse and barbecueness. And it's so good. It's not spicy, like spicy, but it's so good. It adds a lot of flavor, and you can put as much of that as you want. So basically just mix it around the pan, and then I let it sit there to soak up all the herbs and get it together. Kind of start pulling it away, getting it ready to mix it all in there. And it smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. Basically smells like paprika, garlic, onions, and deliciousness. So now I just stir in all the corn and onions to kind of put it together, like integrate it all. And kind of, what I'm doing, like by taking this time, is trying to dry it out because I'm gonna add some sauce. And if this mixture with the jackfruit, because it was already in water, is too soupy, then when I add the sauce, it's gonna be too runny. So I want to basically dehydrate it as much as I can before I add the sauce. Give it a little taste test too, make sure it's like on point there. And then I add this organic sriracha barbecue sauce. I was gonna add sriracha, but then I found this at Trader Joe's and it's already in there. And guys, this sauce was freaking delicious. It looks like barbecue and ketchup now that I'm looking at it, but it was like the perfect, like it was on the spicy side. Like we didn't add any more spice at the end, which is shocking. But it was so spicy, not like so spicy, but like so good spicy, great consistency, sweet enough, but not overly sweet. I don't know, I cannot recommend this enough. I'm gonna buy 1,000 of them and live off of them. They were so good. But yeah, I started with a cup and to see how it would do. I probably should have just put in a little bit at a time, but a cup seemingly worked out. Because I put 1 can of corn, 1 can of jackfruit, so I do 1 cup of sauce, and then you can always add more if you want it a little more saucy, or if you don't like so much sauciness, then you can leave a little out. I just make sure it's well combined, and then I let it sit on the stove for just a little bit to really let it marinate and suck in all the flavors. So while I have reduced that on to low on the stove, I start in with my coleslaw that I got a recipe off of Pinterest, but I didn't love everything about it, so I took the essence and made it my own. I start with the cruciferous mix from Trader Joe's. It has kale, cabbage, and broccoli shreds, and it's just crunchy and delicious. For me personally, I don't put in any like floppy leaves because then it gets really wilty, and I do not like soggy coleslaw. I don't like soggy anything. So Put that mix in, add some carrots. You can put as much as you want, but for this, with the recipe like facts that I give you, I did 4 handfuls of cabbage, mix, and then about 1.5 handfuls of carrots. I add in 1/2 cup of mayo, which is adding in fat. So if you are not about that life, then I'm not sure. But my husband loves mayo, so I put it in for him. I am not a fan of mayo at all, but if it's in a salad sauce like this, or salad dressing, I don't know if salad sauces, it makes it tolerable for me. It's kind of just to help bind everything together and make it delicious. But I add that in reluctantly. He was very happy about it. And stir it all up. Man, it was so hard to get it out of this little cute measuring cup. I got the measuring cups for aesthetic, you know what I mean? And not for usability. So after the mayo, I add in 1 tablespoon of sugar. If you don't want sugar, anything that I say you can just leave out if you want. Oh, just kidding. I add in 2 tablespoons of sugar to sweeten this up. But don't worry, I am going to add something to kind of like counter that, which is rice vinegar. It said to use apple cider vinegar, but I could not find that anywhere. But I did find it after the fact, which was not helpful. But this rice vinegar was just fine. And it calls for 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, or actually apple cider vinegar. And that gives it its tardiness. And then it becomes like tart with the vinegar, but sweet from the sugar, and then creamy with the mayo, and then crunchy with the vegetables. It really is like all the senses together in happy merriment and deliciousness. And it's pretty easy. I just literally stir it in like that. I do add a little bit more kale mix right before I served it to have kind of some really crunchy pieces and then like some marinated pieces. But that is just what I decided to do. So you can do whatever you want. I do add a little salt to the taste to bring out some of the flavors, but not a lot. I do not like cooking with salt. I mean, I do it because of flavor, but I'm not like a salty person at all. The last part is just cutting up some potatoes in quarters lengthwise so that they're a little bit like wedge-like. We sprinkled some onion powder and paprika, and that's all. Let that soak into the potato. My mom's helping me. She's so cute. Look how cute she is. Oh, she's TikTok famous. Low-key. I'll put my TikTok below and my husband's because she's so cute. I love her. Look at her. But yeah, so she's in charge of potatoes, and it was so good, and it was so fast, so easy. And then this is literally the deliciousness that ensued. Basically all plants minus the mayo. Yum. I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial. Hopefully it's easy for you to recreate, and that you and your family or whoever you plan to serve it to really love it as much as we loved it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your support, and have a great week. Bye!